Hey, Cardinal fans, I'm Casey Walkup here at the Nest, Cheney's new sports performance, fitness, and physical therapy facility. Various times throughout the year, we are going to go inside the Nest with a Cheney Cardinals student, athlete, or alumni and give you a closer look at what type of person they are and talk to them about some of the accomplishments they've had as they represent our community. And for episode 1, we've got a super treat for you. At this time, I would like to welcome into the Nest Cheney alum and Cheney legend now, Mr. Jackson Voth. How you doing, Jack?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I got a little introduction for you. Jack is a 2024 graduate of Cheney High School, played wide receiver primarily, also played defense as a linebacker, special teams, and returned kicks in high school. Some of his high school highlights: he led Cheney to a perfect 13-0 record in 2023 and won Cheney's first ever state championship in football during his senior season. His stats his senior year: 1,030 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns on 77 receptions, 359 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns on just 39 carries. And he tied a state record with 19 receptions in a playoff win against Andale High School, and he set the record for 4 kickoff return touchdowns at Cheney. Some of his awards and honors were 2023 Kansas 3A Offensive Player of the Year, first team All-State, and named to various top 11 teams in the area. He also played basketball, baseball, and ran track while he was at Cheney High School. And after he graduated, he went on to K-State, where he redshirted last year, and he's since transferred now to Drake University, continuing his football career as a wide receiver. That's a lot, man.
Thank you. Thank you for saying all that. I appreciate it.
You're going to Drake University now. Tell us a little bit about Drake. A lot of people may not know exactly what Drake is, where it's at. It's a Division I university.
Yeah. So Drake, we're in Des Moines, Iowa. This was my coming up here on my visit was the first time I've ever been to Iowa or the Des Moines area. And then the second time I came, I moved in. So I got pretty kind of thrown into the fire up here. But Drake as university, I would say it's like the people make it, right? It's not the biggest D1. I would say I think it's about 2,500 people go here. But like the people here are just great, especially on the football team. I just remember coming in those opening weeks, like I didn't know like anything about Iowa. I didn't know where to go, and they took me and immediately like had me over for dinner, just hanging out with them basically every day of the week. The first couple weeks I was here, so that's a little bit of what Drake is and how I was introduced to it.
Well, Drake is the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs are coming off of a 41-0 win over Valpo. They're 2-2 this season. Those 2 losses came to very tough competition, playing number 2 South Dakota State in the FCS, as well as number 23 South Dakota. You guys battled some injuries, especially under center at the quarterback position. But it seems like after last week, you guys are kind of back in the stride of things and maybe back well on your way.
Yeah, yeah. Those couple games was pretty unfortunate. Obviously, our starter goes down. You never want to see that for the kid or also for the team. But I would say one of our strongest parts of our team is our QB room. South Dakota State game, we had a senior come in who was definitely ready to play, scored very first drive, and then second drive that he had, unfortunately, like rolled his ankle, high ankle sprain. But good thing is we had a true freshman come out and absolutely play his butt off. Logan, like phenomenal guy, phenomenal player, phenomenal leader. The only thing I can say is positive things about him. And he just came, stepped up to the plate, did everything he could. Being a true freshman, honestly, playing the full game at South Dakota State at a sold out blackout crowd has to be a little bit intimidating. Like it has to be. He came in and I just remember there was a couple times where he'd get smoked by that linebacker and you're like, no way. Like he gets up, called him to play in the huddle. Like he just a fighter. And then obviously we played South Dakota the week after. And, I think we were pretty disappointed in how that game went. I think, we matched up a lot better than what we showed. And I don't think that has anything to do with QB play. You could say like, oh, your third string quarterback, that our third string quarterback is good enough to start, I believe, anywhere in any team we play against. And definitely an unfortunate loss, but coming back to Valpo, just, being able to kind of get another win under your belt, definitely builds confidence. But I would say the way we ran the ball in the second half definitely builds confidence for the weeks to come. Our line just constantly works their butt off in practice, and seeing them have success as well as our running backs and our quarterbacks in the run game was such a good sight to see. And definitely your defense letting up 0 points is pretty phenomenal as well.
Yeah, and I noticed this weekend you returned a punt or two. What's kind of the situation, and where do you stand in that regard as far as
I would
returning?
say I am the punt returner, which is so fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's so fun. I remember the first game, I was so nervous. I called my dad, I'm like, "Dad, I'm so nervous. Like, I'm returning punts." He's like, "Jack, like, you've returned punts all of high school, you know?"
Right.
And he was true. It's just a football game. My dad always told me, just find the place where you were when you were a little kid playing like football with Harry in the backyard, and that's kind of been my go-to about it. But yeah, returning punts, I am the punt returner, and I love every second of it. I think
Yeah.
it's so fun.
Well, you're obviously a playmaker when you got the ball in your hands. This year, Jack's leading the Bulldogs with 20 receptions, 253 yards, and 12.6 yards per catch, which is pretty amazing
Thank you.
when you start looking at average yards per catch. And one of those catches, we go back a few weeks back to the South Dakota game. Um, One of the best catches I've ever seen, man. I mean, we talk about Odell Beckham and Randy Moss. They've made some catches, throughout their careers. But just talk a little bit about that catch and that play and how it all developed back at South Dakota.
Well, thank you for comparing me to them, but I don't think that's even close. But I do appreciate it. Going to that play, we knew all week when we get into certain formations, we may have one-on-one opportunities, and just grateful to the coaching staff and the QB where we knew when we went out there that I'd most like to be one-on-one and just a little, basically a corner route, kind of what it was, and just saw the coverage we liked, ran the route how I was supposed to, and the QB just really made a great throw on the run. Like, that's a tough throw to make, 30 yards down the field on the run, rolling to the right, and he just put it in a great spot. A spot only I could get. It was either me or nobody, and luckily enough, my landed perfectly in my hand. I was able to reel it in. It was pretty fun moment, I will say.
The celebration afterwards.
Yeah, a little bit of celebration afterwards. Yeah,
Your sister's got some good dance moves too. It looks like as we saw a couple of weeks ago on the volleyball court.
yeah. I
Did you
when
get
you
to
so
talk
you
to her about that at all?
Oh, I did. And when you sent that video to me, you sent it to me before she did. And I was just die laughing. I didn't know who it was at first. Like, I was like, who is that? I was like, no way that's Landry, right? And Landry, I mean, 2 minutes after he sent it to me, sends it to our family group chat. And like, I just could not breathe. I was laughing so hard. I sent it to so many people. Like, it really is funny that, like, just the way her legs, like, basically gave out as she was walking backwards. And it looked like she was trying to dance. Like, that's literally what it looked like.
She lost all control of her limbs at that point for
So
that
funny.
few seconds, which is so crazy because she's like uber athletic. I mean,
Yeah, she's
for a girl, you can't get much more athletic than her. Maybe other than your mom. I know your mom was a great athlete, but it was just Sarah and I laid in bed that night and just I literally had tears in my eyes. I
yeah.
was laughing because you couldn't just watch it once.
No.
And
No.
each time you watched it, it got more funny and more funny. But bless her heart, man. And the cool thing is, and like your entire family, she was a cool sport about it. She laughed at herself, and it didn't go viral, but you have one that did. You have one that did. Back a couple years ago, you and Josh Burdick were out practicing during the summer. That might be your best catch ever. I gotta say. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
catch that went viral all over Twitter. A catch that was viewed all across the country and probably around the world. Just talk about that. Tell us how that all came about.
Yeah, so it would start off with me and Josh and a couple of the receivers. We'd go out pretty much every day of the summer and we'd throw like twice. We try to throw at least twice, at least once, but most of the times twice. We'd go at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, so it was hot, and then we'd go at nighttime at around 9:30. So that, like, oftentimes on that field there's only like 1 or 2 lights on. So it'd make it like harder to see for Josh to throw and us receivers to catch. Well, that day, I was just talking to Case. I was like, Case, I want to try to do a backflip and catch the ball. But I was like, "But I don't think I can." And he was like, "Dude," he's like, "You definitely can. Like, you can already flip. Like, you just gotta throw your hand up there and catch it." And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Dude, you should do it." So we went up to the field. Kaysen came with us, which he often did. He often did come with us and ran routes. He was up there and he was like, "Let's just try it." So after we got done throwing, we tried doing it standing first, where I would just flip and catch. And I'm pretty sure like one of the early ones, like I didn't like fully rotate and I just landed on my knees, but like I caught the ball. And Case was like, "You got to flip and just literally throw your hand there." Like it's so much more on the throw than you think. So then we got it with me just standing there, and we're just like, "Let's just try it running a route. Like, what's the simplest route you can run? 5-yard hitch." And yeah, we ran it. Josh, I mean, perfect ball right in my hand. And then Kaysen was like, "You got to post that thing tomorrow." And I did, and the rest is history.
How many views did it get? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure. I know on TikTok it got a little over 200,000. So that was cool. The comments like make it for me. Like some of the TikToks on comments are like, "If you ever run this in game, I'm gonna absolutely destroy you." And it's like, yeah, I'm never gonna backflip in game.
Right.
Like, why would I do that? I think it's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was awesome, man. And I'm sure you heard from people all across the country and seeing that. But that also takes us back to a very special year, 2023, your senior year, undefeated, and there were a lot of cool things that came with that year. Unfortunately, though, you kind of went through it battling a shoulder injury. You even set out of a game. I mean, what? How? I mean, were you 100% all through that season?
I mean, I would say I was 100% up until the week of, I think it was Colby we played. I think that week, yeah, we were just doing tackling drills. And, us linebackers, we get, you get into it a little bit and things. I was having not the greatest practice, a little frustrated. And I want to say it was me and Grady, and we like three head-to-head matchups in a row, and I just hit my shoulder. And then after that, I wouldn't say I wasn't exactly 100%, but I also wouldn't say like it was such a bad injury that I couldn't play through it. Like I would
Oh,
say it also didn't limit me. It was more of, certain times of the game I had to play through a little bit of pain. So I'd say I was still probably like 95%, but it just hurt a little bit more than it usually would.
well, I don't know if this is a coach's decision or your decision or doctor's decision or whoever, but you ended up sitting out one game, which really odd not seeing you on the field leading up to a special game that I was just looking through some dates today, October 13th. So almost, just a few days shy of exactly 2 years ago. But it was a very special day in Cheney football history where I say we like I had something to do with it. I was just in the press box announcing the game. But we as a community and you guys as a team end a 57 game winning streak and to beat Andale in the regular season in a district game. But the crazy part is you're down by a couple touchdowns at halftime. I mean, talk about that game.
Going into the game, obviously, we believed we could win. Everybody on the team believed we could win, and I think credit to our coaching staff, credit to all the young guys that helped us prepare for that game. They were just as bought in as us seniors were, and I think that really is what made us great and what made us what made it possible for us to win. So going to that game, we definitely had the confidence, like, hey, we're gonna beat these guys, and then going into halftime. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, never had doubt. I'll never say I had doubt winning, but, at one point it's 22-0. We're like, can't even score on these guys, and then Gavin has that first touchdown, and it's like that was like the, you know what, like they can bleed. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, and now it's like, let's see how much we can make them bleed. Going into halftime, we're losing, but like no one was worried. I just remember Kaysen and Coulter, two of our best leaders ever been around. They're just talking halftime, but it's nothing like, "Come on, guys," or we're not tough enough. It's like, hey, we know what we need to do. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We had 4 turnovers that game, but it was just. And then I'm pretty sure we prayed and we left it all to God. And we're like, hey, if He's with us, who can be against us?
Absolutely.
And went out there and basically fought and won.
Amazing. I mean that night, I don't think there was anybody in this town that slept real easy that night because everybody was in such a natural high after taking down a team that 5 straight state championships, 57 wins in a row, the longest winning streak in the country at that point in time. ever since that season, they're kind of back at it. But, one of the cool things, and you'd probably agree, was they were very gracious. They were very respectful. Obviously, nobody wants to lose when you've won 57 in a row, and especially to somebody that's probably considered a rival. But they were very gracious in defeat, and I respect that. And I think that's one of the cool things that Dylan Schmitz has instilled over there. And a couple weeks later, we met up with them again in the semifinals of the playoffs at Cheney again for the second time. And unfortunately, we found ourselves right back in the same situation at halftime. You're so close to the goal. Obviously, you won a state championship, and I'll be honest, I didn't think we could beat them twice in a row, and I dang sure didn't think at halftime, being down multiple touchdowns, that we could do that again. But I did say to somebody else in the press box, I said, "We got it right when we won them. This is exactly where we were last time." And everybody's kind of like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Yeah, I mean, going in that game, I just remember kind of the what you said about beating them twice. Like, I know a lot of people doubted us, and I'm not saying my dad doubted us at all because I don't believe he did. But I remember beginning of the season, me and Casey at our dinner table, we're talking about how we want this season to go, what we want it to look like. And I remember my dad was like, "Do you want to beat them once, or do you want to beat them twice?" And we're like, "What do you think, Dad? Like, we're gonna beat them twice. We're gonna have an undefeated season. We're gonna do this." And now the opportunity came, and again, going back to that belief, like our belief in God was so much greater than our belief in anything else. So we knew, like, no matter what happened, no matter the odds, the momentum, the fans, like we knew at the end of the day, like what our foundation was on, and it was God, and that like nothing's impossible without Him. And then going to that game, the crowd I mean, just Cheney showed out. Like, you want to talk about the best community? I will forever say Cheney has the best small town community in Kansas, and it's not even close. Like, I remember I'm catching punts an hour before the game, and the seats are completely full, and the line is still so far back, and just the support we got for that game was absolutely insane. I don't think we would have won it without them. I remember our fourth down stop, how loud it was. Like, I couldn't hear anything. But going into halftime, it was the same speech as it was the first time. We knew how good of a team we were, and we knew, like, and you have confidence going in knowing we've done it once. Why can't you do it again? And I think having that confidence going into the second half, we weren't worried, we weren't shocked. We are just like, hey, let's just play our game again and trust God, and whatever happens, happens.
The guy that I'm fortunate enough to be talking to right now, 19 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game. A state record with the 19 catches in a game. I mean, this dude was in the zone. Just talk about how you felt. I mean, do you even remember it? Were you just kind of blacked out or what?
No, I definitely remember it just because of like just how fun the game was. Like, truthfully, playing a team like that, like again, you mentioned how respectful they are. They don't talk trash. And it's amazing to win 5 state championships in a row. You could think you get this ego. No, they're well coached, they're poised, they don't talk trash. It's a fun football game, and it's a fun football game to play on both sides of the ball. But obviously, going into like the catches and that's just Josh and the coaches, having faith in me and trusting me on, because a lot of those catches I want to say came, on third downs or fourth downs. They weren't very long, like 3 or 4 yard gains. And a lot of that just came with trust with Josh. And I'm grateful to him because, like he just kept feeding me. He kept trusting me to win my one-on-one matchups. And that's kind of what led, I think, to all of it, is they just believe that, hey, if it's one-on-one, we can trust Jack. And I'm grateful for them for that.
So knock off Andale twice in the season. Then you earn a spot in the state championship game against the Topeka Hayden team that was very good.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, there's another trial, another obstacle, and you go out to play the game, and there's 12 inches of snow on the ground.
Honestly, it's a dream come true. Talk about like a kid living a dream, like everyone who loves football. When it's snowing in the middle of December or January, you're like out there playing catch, you're freezing. You're like, man, I can't wait until I get to play this one day. And in high school, you don't like snow in November in Kansas. Like, that's not the most natural thing to happen. And on the day of our state game, like, I feel like that's just crazy. But it was awesome. It was awesome, and it was not fun. I would never want to play in snow again just because of the footing. Like, if you look before, a lot of people, it was like you were a bull out there. Like, people are digging their foot in before the ground because you really had one step. You'd one full speed step. If you weren't going straight, you couldn't pick up any speed because you couldn't stop. That was also the coldest I've ever been. And I don't know if you've seen that picture, but I got like a
Yes.
full snow helmet. Yeah.
It was one of those situations where you kind of throw out all advantages because it's, 12 inches of snow is an equalizer. If my memory serves me right, he scored the first touchdown of the game, and I just kind of had a feeling after that it was like I think something good here is going to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And watching film all week, I remember me and Kaysen. Kaysen's an insane film watcher. I'm talking probably 10 hours a week. Like, didn't play Xbox, dude sat and watched film, especially this week. You all want to win. And we would just be texting. Kaysen's like, dude, when they get in this, they're running this. And when they get in this formation, this guy's foot's an inch behind, they're running this. So I remember that game, we're calling out like 80% of the plays and just, and after we scored and, you have that lead and it's like, not that you get comfortable, but like that feeling inside you, like that momentum of like, we're really about to do something that we dreamed of when we were 5 years old in the backyard playing football together. Like, it really was just a dream come true.
Well, you guys completed the 13-0 undefeated season, defeated Andell twice, defeated Hayden in the state championship game, and win the first state championship for football in Cheney High School history. So I guess you guys could probably hang your hat on that. You probably are the best. You will go down in history as the best football team in Cheney High School history. But the one thing that I always respected is in watching you play, no matter what sport it was, is you played the game with passion, you played the game with a lot of heart, and you weren't cocky, you weren't arrogant doing it, and that's kind of cool that I can still see that as I watch you when you're playing in college now. But
Thank you.
that's something that is not normal these days anymore. You see kids these days see stuff on TV and the old Barry Sanders where you score a touchdown and hand the referee the ball. That doesn't happen anymore. Where's that style of play come from for you?
My dad, 120% my dad. And it's so funny you mentioned Barry Sanders because that's what my dad said. And always growing up scoring, when we were younger, he always told me, so you ever scored a touchdown? He said, it was never you. Like, and my dad always made it clear that in football, one person can't score a touchdown. There's 10 other people blocking on the field for you, or there's 5 linemen blocking. And just very grateful that my dad taught me that from a young lesson. That's like, why make it about you when football's not about a single person, it's about a team. And hopefully I'm going to try to keep carrying that on. Had this talk with my dad this weekend actually about the Barry Sanders thing. He literally brought it up. Like,
Yeah,
literally was like, Barry Sanders is the greatest running back ever. He never celebrated. He handed the
yeah.
ball around. I was like, you know what, Dad, you're right. Like, and I think yeah, I'm very grateful for my dad that he kind of installed that for me. And yeah,
Well, and that's cool that you have carried that with you from a young kid playing sports. Do you have any words of advice for young kids that are still here in the Cheney community that are growing up that might be playing little league football or even middle school football?
yeah, I'd start off with number one thing, just trust God. You're gonna go through trials in life. You're gonna get injured, or even if you're not blessed enough to not get injured, you're gonna have tough losses, or things aren't always gonna go your way. And always believing, in God that His plan is the right way. It gives you so much peace with losing and peace with struggle. And then number two is just be the hardest worker in the room. If you're the hardest worker and you give it everything you have, at the end of the day, when you look back, you will have zero regrets and things, they will go your way.
Looking ahead this week, you're going to make a trip to San Diego. I'm sure some of these games you got coming up are going to be pretty chilly. uh, since you guys play a lot of northern schools, it seems like. But you get to go to San Diego. Just kind of talk about what the week ahead looks like. And also, I did hear from your parents that they're going to be able to watch San Diego State and Campbell Hague play volleyball while they're in San Diego coming to see you.
I wish I got to see Campbell play because like that'd be really, really cool. Because I know she's doing really well this year. Good for her. But we're just gonna start practice tomorrow. Go through your normal week of practice. Everything's gonna be normal, and I believe we fly out Friday. I've never been down there. So I'm extremely excited because like I've never been. This is gonna be a great trip. But also like at the end of the day, it is a business trip. This isn't our coach says, this isn't a sightseeing trip. And I love that. You always gotta keep, the main thing, the main thing. But we're just gonna prepare like we always prepare. No team is greater or less than the team you played the week prior.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. You've been a very fun to watch over the years. If you want to check out Jack, he's usually on ESPN Plus on Saturdays when they play on Saturdays. Um, just search Drake Bulldogs, and usually their game is on ESPN Plus. You can watch him play. But man, it's an honor to talk to you. I appreciate you giving me some time of yours. Maybe a little more time than it should have taken. Wink, wink. But let's just say this might be the second time Jack and I have done this interview, but that's all right because wanted to make sure and bring it to you. But thanks again, man. Keep repping Cheney, and best of luck the rest of the season.
I will. Thank you so much.
What an awesome guy he is. I hope you enjoyed our first Inside the Nest with Jackson Voth. Until next time, I'm Casey Walkup from the Nest for Cheney Cardinals Insider.